Hey guys, it's Katie, and in this video we're going to discuss what you need to have and what's nice to have for your new puppy. Now a couple things are going to be obvious that you'll need. You're going to need a leash and you're going to need a collar. Henry's collar has on it his rabies tag when he's up to date. It has the tag for his microchips when he's got one. And he's got the tag with his ID for his pet insurance because he's actually considered special needs, so he does have that as well to help alleviate costs. Y'all ever been rained on while the sun is out? What the heck? I'll be right back. I gotta change my shirt. Okay, got my shirt changed. I've got some coffee. Now we can dive into it. Now, as I said while we were outside, you do need a collar, you do need a leash. Those are pretty obvious. Also, what's obvious is you need a food bowl and you need a water bowl and you need food. Now these are just some of the basics, but within these need to haves, there are some, call them subcategories, that are nice to have. So Henry, for example, instead of having just a regular bowl that I fill up with water, he has more of a Culligan style where it feeds into the water bowl and I just refill the tank when it gets low. With feeding though, you may not necessarily want to free feed your dog just because it's easier to keep their weight under control as they get older if you don't get them used to that. Another need are toys and chew bones. Now depending on the age of your dog, if you're bringing home a little puppy, they do make actual puppy toys where they're softer on their little baby teeth and they can grow into the adult dog toys. What's nice to have? Options. When he doesn't want this one, he can go for that one. Yes, you can have it. There you go. You want that one too? Now, if you're bringing home a puppy, then obviously you don't want something that's going to be that heavy duty. And one other major need, pee-pee pads for when you're not there during the day and when they're not house trained yet, because it's going to take a bit. Henry took 4 months to house train. He was having accidents all the time. For example, Henry shredded the pee-pee pads. Nasty. I discovered on Amazon some really good reusable puppy pads. What was nice about these was he couldn't really shred them. Now, I should throw out a disclaimer here. Nothing is going to be indestructible to a puppy. These were a lifesaver with Henry. And all you have to do is once they get dirty, you throw them in the washer. Going hand in hand with having pee-pee pads is you really need a good spot and stain remover for those times when they're not gonna hit the puppy pad and they don't make it outside. Now, I recommend these. This is the Bissell Pet Pro Oxy. Unfortunately, Henry did get sick just the other day. This came in handy and you cannot tell on the carpet where he got sick. It cleaned up the mess perfectly, and then all you have to do is go back over after it's dry and vacuum it. Good to go. The other one is this Woolite, because it specifically is a pet and stain remover that comes with a sanitizer. That in particular is why I buy it. Hello, Bill? It does the same thing as the Bissell. I find that Bissell and Woolite actually work really well. You don't have to buy the pet-specific ones from a pet supply store. Another need for your new puppy is going to be a crate. I actually used this for 2 reasons. Number 1 was to give Henry somewhere safe he could be when he first came home because he was from the shelter, and it kind of acts as his own little room and a safe space. Number 2, I used it for potty training. So I took one of those reusable puppy pads and it fit just right in the bottom of his crate where I could set that there, and then if he made a mess while he was in there, so what? There's a puppy pad down. And then I would just change it out when I came home for a clean one and then be ready to wash it. Some people may feel differently, but I feel crate training is an absolute must for a new puppy because of those 2 reasons. Another need to go along with potty training and training in general, you're going to want some training treats. Henry has to have some specific ones because he does have digestion issues. So he is considered a special needs dog. He's on medication for the rest of his life. His training treats are these, the Bill Jack grain-free, like that right there, soft training treats. These are little teeny tiny and they work great for training him. Well, hello. All he has to do is see the bag. Down in 1. See, you didn't even chew. Did you? So that's one option. The other option, this is his backup bag, is I get him these. These are from Petco. This is their brand, Wholehearted. And I really like these as well because they don't mess with his digestion. They're very easy on him. And like the other ones, these are chicken flavored. Now those are adult dog training treats. They do make specific puppy training treats at your local pet supply store. He doesn't worry about his food, but I do. Another need and nice to have, both, is a bed. Now Henry has a couple different beds. He's got a massive floofy bed that he uses most of the time. He has a little sleigh bed, which I bought only really because I thought it was cute. And Belle really likes the sleigh bed, and she uses it. And then he's got his crate. And for that, I just buy a pillow and I put it on top of a blanket inside the crate itself. You don't have to do all that. Now, if your dog is going to sleep in bed with you, that's different. They may not necessarily need their own bed, which is why it's more of a nice to have in that situation. Now, there are a couple of nice to haves that we haven't discussed so far. One of those nice to haves is a thunder shirt. When I brought Henry home, like I said, he was very nervous. A thunder shirt really helped him through those first couple of weeks to become more comfortable in my apartment and more comfortable in general, because it's almost like a weighted blanket for us. It swaddles them and makes them feel like they're being held and comforted. So highly recommend that if your dog is anxious when you first bring him home. A couple other nice to haves are a blanket and a harness. A blanket for their bed or their crate or whichever, and then a harness for going outside. Now some people prefer to use a harness on their dog instead of a collar when they're taking them on a walk. If your puppy is a puller, a harness can be a help because then they don't have that collar pushing on their throat, which you never want. A collar is a need because you need something to hold your dog's rabies tag. When they go out in public, it's an automatic signal to everyone that this dog is fully vaccinated and they are safe to go out. As far as the blanket is concerned, that's a nice to have, because it can make their crate a bit more comfortable for them. They don't need it for their beds. I just do that because I spoil Henry. But really, I mean, what's so wrong with spoiling a dog? But that's my list for needs versus nice to haves for puppy essentials. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts? Have I missed anything? Are there any needs that I've forgotten? Any nice to haves that you really, really like? I'd love to hear your recommendations, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, I recommend checking out the crate training video down in the description. Also, check out the video about Henry versus the pet stairs. That one's kind of funny.